Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. We are super excited that you are here. We are going to have just a little treat for you doing something a little bit different tonight. We're going to be talking about detoxification. I'm Nikki McCutchen. I will be one of your co-hosts along with Vicki Mawad tonight. And so we're super excited just to talk over detoxification and the importance of really how important it is for the body to really work properly. So we'll start with our medical disclaimer. All LifeWave products are not intended to treat, cure, diagnose, or prevent any dis-ease. If you are pregnant or nursing or have any kind of health condition, please always check with your preferred healthcare practitioner first. And with that, just so you know, Vicki and I are not doctors. We are just going to be sharing just how, really and truly how detoxification in the body actually works and the importance of detoxification for the body to allow it to work properly. Our technology does support that in the body, but again, it's super important that we're not necessarily specific on, anything that our technology does. It's just a natural body process, and our technology is supporting that. But we want our body to work that way and have the ability to detoxify across the board for anything that's going on with us. And so just know that up front as well. But before we kind of dive into detoxification, I just wanted to go over, Ricky, if you will share with us again, what are some very common benefits that people will pretty much across the board we see all the time with this technology, what those benefits look like.
Did you say Vicky or Ricky?
Vicky. Yeah, Vicky.
I'm just kidding.
It's you, me girl.
Yeah, that's a great question because people want to do detoxes for many different reasons, but it's the benefits that you want to look at. So you want to feel more energetic. So if someone has a difficulty sleeping, like I had for many years, I had gut issues for many years, and I had tried detoxes over the years, but none like this. So this is a cellular detox. This is not something that you drink or take. So that was very different in itself. And I'm so thankful for that, which is amazing. But, it could just be any kind of health challenges. It could be, let me see, like if you have some kind of health condition, chronic health condition that you're trying to improve upon. If you'd like to break free from some kind of an addiction, we've had people do detox protocols for that, and it's very, very beneficial, very helpful. A lot of times people want to do weight loss, so this helps support that and get you started in the right direction. Yeah, and if somebody just has headache, constipation, and they're just tired all the time, they just want to, be great and healthy and feel vital and energetic each and every day, have good sleep, those kinds of things are what I would look for.
Yeah, absolutely. And so just overarching, our technology helps people. What we see reported all the time is just better energy, better sleep, an overall sense of well-being. Those are very common things that we see. People just feeling better with using the technology. So are there any side effects with our technology?
Not with their technology, but there are symptoms of detoxification. And that's important to go over, especially if someone is not used to the technology. So, they just go through many. I'm just going to read a couple off of the list. So, you can get headaches, fatigueness, change in your bowel movements, irritability, mood swings, skin rash. I did get a rash because I guess that's how some of the toxins come out of your body. I just kind of used some hydrocortisone cream and it went away. No big deal. Appetite changes, skin changes, sleep, and some people get a metal taste in their mouth. And I know you had someone a while back that you were working with, and they had a really heavy metal taste in their mouth.
Yeah,
So
I've
those are
had that
all
happen to a couple of people for sure. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
those are all detoxification symptoms. Yes.
Yeah. And ultimately, just so that everyone understands, there are no contraindications with our technology. There's nothing, nothing happening with any types of, it doesn't matter what type of medications you're on. We don't even need to know what type of medications you're on because this technology is completely non-transdermal. So there is nothing that's entering the body. It's completely sealed on both sides. And so that's why if you go to and talk to a doctor and you tell them that this technology is non-transdermal, usually their reaction is going to be, oh, well, then it's fine, because there's no way that there can be any kind of interaction with any type of medication that you're on, because this technology only supports the body to work the way that it should anyway, to work optimally the way that it should anyway. So those are super important to know. So Vicki, talk to me about how important water is in the body's ability to detoxify.
Oh, that's like the most critical thing. Your body needs water in order for it to detoxify. You want to flush everything out. So, you have to stay hydrated. That is so important for anything with your health, like you say all the time, Nikki. So definitely if you're detoxing, more water, definitely. That's my go-to. And it's crazy because today I just started the severe symptom protocol because I haven't done a detox since after I did my bicep surgery. So I'm like, time and perfect day for it because we're talking about detox. So yeah, and I've just been drinking so much water and you're constantly flushing your system. So it's important to keep getting that hydration in.
Absolutely. Yeah, huge. And that's like Vicky said, that's true for anything. It's not just about this technology. It's true for anything, any body process that you're going through or needing your body to work properly. You have to be properly hydrated to do that. So, so the technology's entire purpose and the way it works is to turn on what the body needs so the body can bring itself back into balance. That's the whole way this technology works, is supporting the body's ability to come back into balance. So for the body to find balance, it has to be able to deal with toxins first. These toxins that have prevented the body from working like it wants to. So those toxins need to go. So it's a natural process that we need to celebrate, support, embrace, so that our body can do what it needs to do to bring it back into a place of balance. So think of the reasons that you started using the technology, or if you're brand new, why you're considering using it. So, is there a list of problems, symptoms, diseases that you're looking to try to have this help? All of these problems, symptoms, diseases are a sign that your body needs to detoxify and that it's struggling to detoxify properly. That is a huge, important point that you need to understand. If you have a list of symptoms, illnesses, disease, your body has the inability, it is not detoxifying properly. So that is why it's so important with this technology to embrace the detoxification problem. So, or the detoxification process. So Vicki, do you have any examples that you like to give people when you're trying to help them understand how the detoxification process works in the body?
I don't really give, much information, just that they may experience some tiredness. Some people experience restlessness, like they have a hard time sleeping because the toxins in their body. Just irritability sometimes, mood changes, a change in your eating habits, just those kinds of things. And like I said, the metal taste in your mouth, those are things to watch out for. Yeah, and if there's anything that when you're doing any kind of detox, it doesn't even matter if it's this technology, any kind of detox, if you have something pop up, something occur because you're doing a detox, that's because you're getting toxins out of your body. And it
Exactly.
needs to come out, and the crazy thing is that a lot of people don't realize that your body is already designed to detoxify itself.
Mhm.
That's the way God made us. And that's why this detox, this cellular detox is so important. And it's different. Like I said, there are different things that you can take, you can drink out there for a detox. But I don't know about you. I'm just funny about if I got to get used to a taste of something. I just don't, it's like I'm dreading to drink it or get it in my system. So yeah, and detoxifying, your pathways are your liver, your kidneys, your lungs, your skin, your lymphatic system, and just reducing oxidative stress in the body, which is going to help with the detox.
Absolutely. Yes. So I have a few examples that I try to give that people can relate to within there. And I don't normally talk about detoxification when I bring up the technology to someone, just because the majority of people don't necessarily have a detox reaction. And so I never want anyone to be concerned about that, because it may not even happen for them. And so it's why it's so important that you always get back to the person, like when you start your technology, that you work closely with whoever started you on the technology, so that if you are experiencing something, then they can help walk you through what your options might be. So one of the examples that I've heard people use is just thinking about like a green, a lake that's green. So that water is not moving. Thinking about too that most people have never done a body detox. Most people don't even think about detoxifying their body. And so we have these bodies that are like these green lakes of, water that need to move. So we enter, our X39 or some of our technology, and it acts like a motor. So a motor that then is a pump that's being entered into the green lake, or a new stream that's coming in, or fish that are coming in and beginning to eat up that algae. So this acts like a motor that's now moving and able to start going through processes to clean that green lake up. So things are starting to work optimally again. So your detoxification process in your body is beginning to work again. Another example I like to use, and this one I use the most, is a closet. So we all have a drawer, a closet in our houses that we just stuff things. We just keep stuffing, and we stuff in, and we close the doors, and we stuff some more. It's just how we do it. And then one day we think, oh, spring cleaning. I'm going to go through and I'm going to pull everything out of this closet, and I'm going to get it all orderly and in order again. So what happens is you start pulling things out of that closet. Oh my goodness, the mess is exorbitant. So a lot of times things will get worse before they get better, because you are now pulling things out, and then you're starting to put them back in where they need to go. So the body is that same way. When you begin to clean out that closet, there can be a mess that begins to get created. But as your body has the ability to put things back in order and utilize systems that it needs to use to remove and cleanse the body, then things begin to start working properly. And then no matter what kinds of toxins you're exposed to, your body can handle those better. But sometimes it has to get worse before it gets better. And another great one for men is just the automobile. Like if we don't take our car in for maintenance, regular maintenance, to get all the fluids checked, to get them changed, to have the tires checked, to get new tires on the car. If we don't do all those things for our car is absolutely going to break down. It baffles my mind that we live in a society that we all know this about our car. Okay, this is super important, but we don't do any of this for our body. There is no teaching on detoxification. There is no teaching on, health for the body. There might be exercise, good food. Like these are all things that are innate. We all know that we need to exercise. We all know that we need to eat high quality food, but we're not told, like, what do we do with all the toxins that we're exposed to? That's what this detoxification process is in the body, and the need for regular maintenance, regular detoxification. So having that be a regular part of your life. So a few things. So, and I don't know, Vicki, I may not be asking this question right, but if you're working with a healthcare practitioner who understands that the body needs to detoxify, what are some different terms that they might use to tell you, what's happening in your body if it's trying to detoxify?
That's a good question. I don't know.
Well, you already know. Yes, So I think you may have mentioned it before. Like a lot of times they'll call it like a healing crisis. That's a very common thing that's used. Herxheimer reactions. That's another common term. A cleansing reaction. Another thing. Also is retracing. That can be used in this detoxifying. That can really happen at any time in this process of the body's ability to work properly. So it could be 6 months down the road. It could be a year down the road. So to where you have an old injury or even something from your childhood that was injured, that then like you have a pain in that certain spot or whatever that comes back, and you thought that your body that was all gone, but then you have have this random, pain from an injury, years and years ago. But it comes back up because what happens in the body is our body will, it will try to get rid of things. If it can't get rid of things, it can't constantly be exposed to whatever the toxin is. So it just walls it off. It walls it off in our body and covers it up with biofilm and all kinds of other things and layers upon layers of biofilm. And so as those begin to break down and those begin to remove, well, then something can be brought up again, in that way to where now your body actually has the ability to remove it from the body, which is so cool. And so that your body's working properly to remove that. Even like emotionally, there can be some emotional components that be brought up in people's lives too, of things that I often say our issues are in our tissues. Everything gets stored in our tissues. And so those need to be detoxified. Our body now has a way with this technology to be able to do that. So any kind of reaction like that, healing crisis, retracing, cleansing reaction, Herxheimer reaction, is when the body is trying to eliminate toxins at a faster than normal rate. Just know this is a temporary situation and highly important that you embrace and celebrate what you're going through. It might just be that you have to work with whoever introduced you to the technology to go slower. And so we'll talk about that here in a minute as well. So Vicki already kind of brought up some of those a list of some of the different detoxification reactions and symptoms. Just again, remember, I don't ever want anybody to be concerned about any of this. Just know it's not a side effect because this is the body's natural process to remove toxins, a natural biological process that your body needs to be able to do that should be celebrated and embraced. So one quick example that actually is going on with me right now is that I'm always pursuing health. I don't ever just let a symptom in my body just be ignored or, just pushed to the side or anything like that. If my body's not operating optimally, I know there's a reason and a cause. And so I'm investigating with different healthcare practitioners to try to figure out what is going on with me. So I have been, and mine are very small because I'm always actually pursuing health. So it's a very different thought process than just letting things happen to you. Just whatever comes my way, I'll deal with it when it happens. I don't do that. I pursue optimal health in my life. And so I've been exposed to some type of bacteria, a couple different types of bacterias that I don't even know. I have no idea when. This is a new practitioner that I'm seeing. I don't know if it was here recently. I don't know if it was 25 years ago. I have no idea when I was exposed to these bacterias. Again, because I'm pursuing optimal health, I don't have lots of symptomology that would traditionally go with these bacterias that I have in my body. So she's found these. And so I'm wearing the technology, utilizing the technology, but she also has put me on some herbs that will kill that technology. So I literally have not like a red rash. It's not a red rash. It's a bumpy rash, like randomly popping up all over in my body, in my hair. Like, thankfully, I just had a few tiny bumps on my face that that didn't get very big that I would try not to scratch. I just scratch all the other ones, all the places that itch, because it was like, okay, like nobody can see those. It doesn't matter how big they get. But my comment to her was like, as fast as we can go, like, I just want to get through it. I don't care how itchy I am. I just want this, to be gotten through. So, but what happens is I have entered herbs that are now killing off and trying to say these bacteria need to go. So one of those first areas is then when it goes through the liver, it detoxifies through your skin. It will try to push it out through the skin. So it's almost as if the bacteria in your body is running. It's trying to get away the ingestion that I'm doing of the herbs to get away from this herb that's trying to kill them off, to kill those bacteria off. And so it's trying to run away and, go out of my skin, but that's also helping to detoxify. So again, You need to, yes, I went back to her and I said, now I'm guessing this is just a detoxification reaction and it's not an allergic reaction. Of course, that's a valid question. Like you need to know if it's an allergy versus if it's a detoxification reaction. So, but obviously, again, I'm pursuing optimal health. So it would be, it most likely would be a detoxification reaction, which of course, she said yes. And we ran some other tests to know for sure that it's a detoxification reaction. And I just need to get through it. So the other thing is just to know that your body is healing. So like Vicky said, like being super tired, it's taking an incredible amount of energy for your body to actually heal. And so you need to prioritize, your body's prioritizing healing. So, wearing this technology at night while you're sleeping, if you need to do that, that's a great, option for if you're super tired, if that's one of the reactions that somebody has. Vicki, what are some other things that we can do to help people go slower? Because like, obviously my reaction, even when I first started this technology, I had a headache. So for 4 days straight, I would put on the patches. My headache would come within a few hours and at night, 12 hours later, I'd take off the patch and my headache would go away. For me, that's my reaction. Get through it as fast as I can. Whereas other people can't do that, or whatever your symptom is, you can't do that. And that's completely understandable. So what would be some options, Vicki, that people would have?
I did want to touch base on a lot of times people will have like some kind of a detoxifying symptom, and their doctors will give them a prescription for that. And it could be because they're dehydrated, they just need more fluids in there so they can flush it out. And putting a prescription in your body when you're trying to detoxify and you're trying to get rid of these toxins is not the answer. I'm sorry. But I'm sorry, what was the question that you asked me?
Yes. What are some ways that people can go slower when using the technology if they can't just push through like that's my reaction. If they can't do that, which I get, there's sometimes you can't. So what would be ways for them to go slower with the technology?
One way is you can start wearing the technology just a few hours at a time and not the full 12 hours. You could, if that's too much, then you could cut it back to like every other day. There are ways to get around it, but this is something that everybody needs. So we definitely need detoxing in our bodies. We breathe air, we eat food, we drink water, and we're constantly putting, things on our body using soaps, deodorants, skincare, those kinds of things. So we are just overexposed to toxins. And, when I first started this technology, I know I was chronically dehydrated and toxic so bad that I thought water was not going to be my friend because I had bladder issues. But come to find out, that was the very thing that I needed to get them out. So just,
Absolutely.
making sure that you're drinking water, having a good headspace also, and knowing what your mindset is. My mindset is I want to get this out. I want to clean my body. So, we go back to the car. Those fluids will turn into sludge if you don't replace them. And nobody's going to buy a car and drive it for 80 years and not change the oil and not change the fluids or rotate the tires or get new tires. And if they do, I will be so surprised because I don't think that that's going to happen. But I mean, 80 years ago, you don't really see cars from that long ago. So, if you don't take care of what we have on the inside, it is a reflection of what comes out of your skin. If people walk around, like today I was with my mom and I felt so bad for this one lady. She just looked like, and I hate to say this, but she looked like a zombie, walking around, and I felt so bad. Like my heart just, went out to her, and I was like, oh my goodness, like that. It's horrible when you look like you feel sick, that's when somebody's really toxic. They just need help sometimes.
Absolutely. Yeah. And like you said, our regular reaction as Americans is to, medicate it. And so, I really like to try to educate people for that to be a last resort and a first resort to be utilizing things that will support your own body's processes, because all of that medication always has a list of side effects, whereas what we have has zero side effects. There's no harm that will come from using our technology because it's only trying to bring back into balance. a medication always has a list of side effects. And so, like you said, that means there's toxins there. That means there's things there that are going into the body that are covering up, that the body's natural process is to wall off and protect. And then you think, oh, I'm fine now, when your body never was allowed to go through the detoxification process to actually have healing. That's what comes from the body's ability to detoxify, is healing. So it's why it's so important. So I'm just going to read just a few more, just so you kind of have a few other, symptoms, just to know, like we talked about, super tired, muscle aches, mucus or other discharge, coated or pasty tongue, flu-like symptoms. Vicki said irritability, difficulty sleeping, more tired, weakness, cravings, nausea, skin rashes, low energy levels, frequent urination. So all of those things can be some type of detoxification reaction. And really, it's truly anything in the body can be your body's way to detoxify what's going on with it. So, like if I give you one example, I had a gal, and I would tell you too, like a question of, okay, how long should I expect? That's a normal question. How long should I expect a detoxification process in my body to take with this technology? Once again, we don't know, because your body is different than someone else's body. The longest one I've seen is 2 months. So I would say 1 to 2 months. Most of the time, I would say it's within a week to 2 weeks. That's very common for anyone, but I did. So I've been doing this 2 years. I've only seen one person in 2 years that it took 2 months, and literally her reaction was hot flashes. And she had been through menopause. All of that was over, had been over for several years. There was something stuck in the body. There are things that get stuck. So literally, she wanted to cuss me. She was not happy with me, because she's like, and so she'd stop wearing the patches. That's how we knew. She'd stop wearing the patches and the hot flashes would go away. So it's a question of, do you want to go slower? I've had someone who I have had to go down to wearing the patch 1 hour a day and utilizing that one patch, for like 3 days, 1 hour. I tell them to keep a chart and a notebook, and even bump up to 2 hours from there, and bump up to 3 hours, every 3 days, going up an hour. Or, I've had people who've gone 2 hours and then jumped to 6 and then jumped to 12. So that's why it's so important to work with whoever introduced you to this technology, to figure out, working through what that's going to work like. Or Vicki said every other day. That may be an option too. There's lots of options. The cool thing is that you haven't ingested anything. Literally, you take off the patch. That's it. You can slow this down as quickly as you want to, because you just take it off. So you have complete control over your body's ability to detoxify with this technology. What else can you do that with? Nothing.
Okay.
The herbs that I'm taking right now, the only way I can slow it down is if I stop taking them. Rotate how she told me to take them, or skip a day or whatever. I can't get them out of my body. Once they're in, they got to go through their process. This, you just take off the patch. Absolutely, you are in complete control of how you want to detoxify. So thankfully, she stuck with it. She was like, okay, Nikki, I'm just going to, and after a month, okay, how are you doing? I'm checking, Nikki, I'm still having hot flashes. I'm thinking, oh my gosh. And I'm so sorry. Like, I'm so sorry. I know this is so miserable, but just stick with it. Just so a whole nother month goes by. She is so happy she stuck with it. She feels so good. She's getting so many great results. So just know that it is so important that you let your body go through the process of what it needs to go through to get on the other side. There is so much good, optimal health when your body is able to detoxify the way that it needs to. So a few other random things that I've seen, again, like literally in one person, she had problems with UTIs. And so she started wearing the patch first several days, actually, I think a few weeks. She felt fantastic, so much energy, felt great. And then all of a sudden, she started having a UTI. And so, she wasn't thinking it was the patch necessarily, but when she would take the patch off, the symptoms of the UTIs would go away. So she's texting me like, again, it's so important to stay in communication with the person who introduced you, because she was just going to quit. That is miserable. She didn't want to get on medication, all of that. And so again, we just had to go slower. That's one of those where absolutely you have to go slower so it doesn't push it anything, into anything. And you want to be able to stay off the medication so that your body can go through the natural process. And she was completely able to do that, which was fantastic. So even like I've heard some doctors talk about that had different heart issues to where their heart would beat, faster again or whatever. And so they were wondering what was going on. And then it was the body actually resetting what was going on with their heart. So again, going slower, allowing it to go through that process is so important, because this technology is truly trying to bring your body back into balance, whatever is going on with you. And so, I've again 2 years, I have this one person right now who her stomach hurts, like she's having stomach hurt, and like you said, sometimes diarrhea, things that go along with that. So we just have to go slower, but getting on the other side is what people are looking for. So in this pursuit of optimal health, your body has to be able to detoxify, and it's going to push things out faster in some people, and they're going to need to go slower. So Vicki, do we have some other technologies besides just the X39 that can help our bodies to detoxify?
Yes, absolutely. Actually, the Eon for sure, that your liver starts to detoxify immediately when you wear the Eon. Our glutathione, of course, that's the immune booster, the detoxifier patch. Of course, the X39, like you said. Where's my list of? Okay. Yeah, I mean, those are the main ones that for detoxifying. But for me, when I was going through the detoxification process, I wore all of the patches. And I feel like that's necessary because I needed it. So, really quick story. I was on antibiotics and steroids for many years because of my bladder issues. So that is a bad combination. And I didn't realize that all I wanted to do was feel normal. And I'm trusting my doctors in this. And it would be like I would take the antibiotic, the steroid, so the antibiotic would work because it wasn't working. And then 2 or 3 weeks later, I would be right back to the doctor getting another antibiotic and another steroid. So I was just thinking, like, this just doesn't sound right. I keep coming back like there's something happening. So my body just needed to get rid of all of those toxins. Another thing I wanted to talk about was I had a woman. Actually, it's been a couple women that I've heard of that their cycle starts again, and
Yes.
they finished menopause. They
Mm-hmm.
had finished menopause, and this was doing, with a detox. So that's what happens to the body. So that's like a retracing. We also had a gentleman that owned a pizza shop, and I don't know if it was, I think it was him, and my husband knows the story. But anyway, I think he was having a really heavy metal taste in his mouth. And we couldn't figure out what it was. We knew it was detoxifying, but we couldn't figure out why he kept tasting metal. But he was in the kitchen around all of these metal surfaces, cooking, the grill, you got the tables that they, prepared the food on, like all of it was metal. So he had so many toxins in his body that was his reaction. Another thing I'd like to talk about is the retracing when you're doing a detox. So for me personally, like I think of like Nikki, better out than in. Stick with it, get to the other side of it. I've had like some serious pains sometimes in my arm when I just had the bicep surgery, and it'll be like a sharp pain, like a knife just goes right through it, and then it'll stop. And I'm like, oh, and I say now I say it, oh, it's regenerating. So
Absolutely.
I keep being positive, you know what I mean? And sometimes,
Absolutely.
like an old injury, like I had a surgery where the doctor severed a nerve from my hip down to my knee. I had no feeling in my leg at all. And every once in a while, I get like a really sharp pain going through my leg, and I'm like, oh, I haven't felt that for so many years. And then I just say, oh, it's regenerating.
Yes. And that's true because like even when you talk to, people who've gone through surgeries and nerves have been cut, the doctor will talk to them about those nerves regenerating. And so our body really does have the ability to regenerate nerves, but that usually is painful. When those nerves turn back on for a second, that's kind of painful when they start to get that electrical conductivity again moving through your whole body. That's not just something that usually happens. There's usually some pain associated when those turn back on. So that's very common, which yes, it's exactly right. Our body is then having the ability to regenerate in those different areas, those nerves. I love it. So,
It is
and
very painful for nerve regeneration. When I had the surgery from the incision down to my wrist, let me see if I can move it over here. So from my incision is here all the way down to my wrist. This whole section was numb. I have pretty much, it's probably like 95% feeling all in my arm. So it's not numb anymore. But I do get that sharp pain every once in a while. And I just keep saying, oh, it's regenerating.
that's right. Yes. Yeah, and embracing it and being excited about it because yes, it's so cool that we do have the availability of technology to actually regenerate all kinds of things in our body. So it's amazing. Yeah. So yeah, the glutathione is a great add for most people, especially if you've got a list of symptomology. I would never start with the glutathione patch. The X39 is the perfect place to start. Just know that glutathione is like liquid gold to your joints, helping to all of those joints be lubricated. It helps to increase the glutathione in your body by 300 times. So glutathione is our master antioxidant that detoxifies every cell in the body, which is what we're talking about. But then the cool thing is that glutathione protects every cell in the body. So it is your master protector and detoxifier. And so just know that any type of exogenous glutathione that you would take orally or even IVs have a 7-minute half-life in the body. So they move out of the body and dissipate very, very quickly. Whereas this will elevate your own body's glutathione by 300 times for a 24-hour period. So this allows that detoxification process to be supported naturally the way that your body would have it be designed to. So a story about that for you is that my husband, he does not feel or notice anything with this technology. He had heavy metal toxicity. Of course, the functional medicine practitioner gives him a 4-month, supply of vitamins that he needs to go on to detoxify. Okay. Vitamins are very hard for some people. So he's terrible at all of that. So he basically out of the 4 months took 1 month of the, which I definitely think worked and helped get things going, but he was consistent on the patch technology as well as, wearing the glutathione patch as well. He completely was able to detoxify those heavy metals and only doing the supplementation regimen for 1 month out of the 4. So that is huge. Now, could that supplementation have given him the extra bump along with the patches? Yes, which is again why I'm doing herbs right now. This is just a tool in the toolbox to help our bodies work properly. I'm always going to tell you that we should be pursuing all kinds of modalities to help our bodies be able to work properly. The other thing I wanted to mention, and Vicki, you may have some comments, super, super excited. July, I think our X2O water machine is supposed to be coming out. And just so you know, with that technology, if you have any type of issues, conditions, diseases, you only want to drink 1 glass of water in the morning because your body's ability to detoxify will upregulate greatly with the use of that light infused water. It will have then access to more of what it needs to push toxins out, and that could cause some unpleasant detoxification effects. That's right out of the mouth of David Schmidt. So just know that that's going to be very important that we know with the technology. Again, what would you like to add to the X2O, Vicki?
Oh, this is amazing. This is going to be a total game changer, especially with the cellular dyes. We have the special water to drink with the cellular dyes, and then we get to put our technology on. So yes, I'm so excited for this, and this is going to be a real game changer for a lot of people in their health. Because I mean, if you do this first thing every morning. You're going to help your blood sugar. You're going to help your, if people have diabetes, high blood pressure, like you want to make sure that you have a good foundation to start with throughout the day. And this is the greatest tool. I'm so excited. I just can't wait to get it in my house. So,
Absolutely. I know July
yeah,
cannot get here fast enough.
I
Come on,
know.
July.
I did want to touch base on some things and tips just for people while they are doing a detoxification. It is important to limit your alcohol consumption because you're detoxifying your liver, so you don't want to put junk in there. You want to focus on sleep, so sleeping so your body can heal and repair. You've been up trying to get rid of all those toxins. Drink more water, and if you thought you drank more water, drink more water. Just keep drinking water. Reduce the sugar intake in your body. That is not going to be good. If you eat sugar, you try to do a cleanse or a detox, and then you go for all the wrong foods because you're hungry. And that's not what you need to do. You need to eat good quality foods. So eat nutrient rich whole foods. Stay away from processed foods and stay active.
Absolutely huge. Yeah, exercise is going to help all the detoxification processes. Like exercise just by itself without anything else, like upregulates the body by, I don't know, 30 to 60% of your ability to be resistant to diseases. So huge. Just get out and walk. I mean, just start doing something. It's so important. So definitely remember that this is your body's natural biologic process for removing toxins, and you want your system to work optimally. So please know that if you're unwilling to allow your body to detoxify, you have created this door that you're choosing for it to remain closed. And that garbage is constantly piling up in your body. So think of it like this. If you utilize a garbage chute in a apartment complex or a dormitory, or even in your house, just the garbage in your house, if you do not remove that garbage and take it out, it will begin to start piling up, piling up. It'll start stinking. It will eventually cause, yes, eventually cause the residents all kinds of problems, mold, disease, viruses, bacteria. All these things start to grow. That garbage builds up in the hallways and eventually spills over into all of the rooms. This is the exact same thing that happens to our bodies. As our livers get clogged, they eventually spill over into other areas in our body, and ultimately it will lead to death because the toxic burden is too heavy. So you need to understand, if you do not embrace this detoxification process, that is where the toxic burden load, that is why we die, because our toxic burden in our body is too heavy. So disease in the body is the inability to detoxify. Okay, so you have to understand how important that is. So let's see. So what do I do if I think we talked about that. What do we do if we have any type of detoxification effects? We talked about going slower. Vicki said it a million times. I love it. It's better out than in. So parasites out, viruses out, bacteria out, always better out than in. Okay. No matter how, yes, exactly. Say goodbye. We don't want you here anymore. And yes, there are some of those things that are going to be natural in our body that do support our body's overall ecosystem. But for the most part, most of us are so toxic that they're harming us. So
Can I
the
share
better your
something?
body, go.
I'm sorry. I just wanted to share the other night I did a Zoom on Monday, and it was for the Spanish Zoom. But this woman, I had this video of this woman, and I'll share it with you guys if you'd like. But we met this couple in Mexico, and this gentleman is so good at doing videos. He got this woman that had a duffel bag, and I'm not kidding you. The duffel bag was about this big, full of medications, full of medications. And at first, you could see her countenance. She was just, she had looked like she had been beaten down. She was downtrodden. She was not happy, no excitement. She couldn't even hold her eyes open because of the light. So she went from that to just vibrant, healthy. She got off all of her medications, and she
Praise
didn't
the
just
Lord.
have one medication in there for certain, like it could be blood pressure. She had like two different medications in there for different, and it's mind blowing to me that you have an issue and these doctors want to give you medication and you get a symptom or a side effect from that medication. They're giving you another prescription. And before you know it, you have a duffel bag like this lady. But I'm so thankful that she had the mindset to know that she needed to get rid of them.
Absolutely. It's huge. Your mindset is huge in how you choose to embrace detoxification. So, the better your body is able to detoxify, the less sickness and disease you will have overall. Improving your body's ability to detoxify literally, y'all, adds years to your life. It adds years to your life. So, what if you're the one person in 2 years that it takes 2 months of this, miserable, state of detoxification for you to be able to add years to your life? I would say that is hugely important. So, do you have anything else that you want to add? So, Ricky's asking real quick, how about, so you're asking about skin conditions, skin issues. So yes, any type of skin conditions, skin issues, that is your body has something that's stuck. So it's needing support to be able to get that out. It's stuck in your skin. And so the X39, the Eon, the glutathione, all of those things are going to help. I've seen people's skin issues clear up with just the X39. So, and Margie's talking about, she's needing to detoxify and is starting, and she's so thankful for the patches because it just has made a huge difference in her body. And again, even like with Margie and what she's going through, we don't know how long she's had these things. They could have been there for a long time, and then all of a sudden, just something triggered it. And, now she's having more symptomology, but the patches, she's saying have been a lifesaver. So, do you have anything? We've totally gone over, but hopefully y'all have found this valuable. Anything else you want to add, Vicki?
I didn't touch base on the mold toxicity because I feel like that's a whole nother segment.
Yes,
But
yes.
we can have mold toxicity in our life and not even know it for so many years. And unless you're tested. So I'm excited to get our testing back because we did the hair analysis thing.
Mhm.
So I'm excited to get that back soon. We mailed that in a while ago, but I'm excited to see like what that is gonna come back as. But yeah, the mold toxicity is different because you definitely need to take measures, and sometimes it doesn't work with just one detox. So you have to work with
Absolutely.
a specialist, when it comes to the mold detox.
Absolutely. Yeah. And this patches are going to help, but I'm going to say you definitely need to add in their protocols of, natural helping, it grab onto, carbon that's going to grab onto and then be able to pull it out of the body. Like I said, the issues are in the tissues. So mold gets stuck in your tissues, and you could have literally any type of symptomology if you're mold toxic. I'm so glad you brought that up because I didn't want to forget, and I almost did. So a couple other things just for people to think about, like if you are someone or know of someone who really is not seeing results with this technology, having your mold checked, I think is a super great one. Also, root canals. I literally just talked to someone this last week that she's been using the technology for 2 years and having little tiny bits of results. And it was just so strange to me because I'm seeing so many results across the board. Well, come to find out, she had an infected root canal. And so, because your body is constantly under assault, then that it is highly toxic. And so, her removing that root canal, her kidney disease literally reversed a whole nother stage after she got that root canal removed. So, just that's another thing, people aren't getting results, going and finding out if they have any infected root canals. The only way you're going to find that out is if you work with a biologic dentist. You have to go in and see a biologic dentist that has the 3D x-raying system to be able to tell if one of those root canals is infected. So that's super important to know if people are not getting results with the technology. One other condition that I've seen that I think is super important for people to know about is if they have breast implants and it's breast implant illness. That's another one where you're going into your doctor and they're telling you there's nothing wrong with you. Like, we don't know why you're having all these issues. We're not finding anything wrong with you. Then there's something potentially going on with one of those breast implants. And so I highly, recommend too, if there's somebody that has that they go in and see a specialist who knows about breast implant illness, not just somebody who writes it off, but they specialize in that so that they can check for you on that, because that would be an issue like with chronic pain and different things like that, to where you just never feel like our technology is working the way that you think it should. It could be, so under those two conditions, especially 3 with mold, you are highly toxic. Your body is inundated inundated with toxins. And so even for our technology, your body is constantly just trying to catch up and trying to help with that. And it's struggling to do that because you have something in your body that is literally just eating it alive. So those are super important things to know, to just ask somebody if they're not getting results with the technology like we normally see people have. So anything else to add to that, Vicki?
No, and I'm glad you brought that up because that is very important. And that's one of the main reasons why I always recommend someone doing a detox because they've been wearing the patches for, say, a month or two and they don't notice any difference. There's no benefits that they're experiencing. And, we just kind of go back and ask some more questions, listen to, their symptoms, what they were wanting to do with the technology. And then I suggest the detoxing. So it's definitely
Absolutely.
nice.
Yeah,
Nice to know.
absolutely. Yeah. So hopefully we've gone over this thoroughly enough for everyone to understand how important this natural biologic process is in our body. And we really hope you're going to walk away from this and be so excited that you will embrace and celebrate your body's ability to work properly and utilize this detoxification system that is God-given. He gave us this so that we can handle the toxins that we're exposed to. I have done a lot of detox programs over my lifetime, and this is by far the simplest, easiest, and cheapest way that I have ever found to support my body's ability to naturally detoxify. Like I said, you just take off the patch. By far, like literally, y'all, thousands of dollars of different detoxification processes that me and my family have been on supplementation wise, long-term programs, having to stick with, and not simple, not easy, not cheap. Okay, so this by far is the cheapest, easiest, simplest way to support your body's natural processes that I have ever found or seen in all of my lifetime of really, truly investigating and pursuing optimal health in every way that I can for me and my family. So with that, thank you so much, Vicki, for being on tonight. Thank you all so much for coming on tonight. Please make sure you get back to the person who invited you to the call. If you haven't started the technology, tell them you're ready to get started. Do not be afraid of detoxification. Embrace that. Always go to patchtheway.com, PATCH, theway.com. All kinds of great videos there, results that people have had, our clinical studies, everything is there, our patents. So definitely check that out as well. And with that, we pray blessing over each and every one of you. Good night, everyone. Thanks for being on the call.
Good night. God bless.
Great info. Thanks.
Thanks, David.